If everybody is ready, this is Monday, June 6th at 7:30, and this is the City of Brainerd City Council meeting. Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Erickson.
Here.
O'Day.
Here.
Stunek.
Yep.
Johnson.
Here.
Pritchett. Stengline.
Here.
Bevins.
Here.
And Bedot.
Here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4 is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Stunek, second by Stengline. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Item 5 is the consent calendar where all matters listed are considered routine by the council, will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion as these items unless good cause is shown prior to the time the council votes on the motion to be adopted by roll call. Is there a move to adopt the consent calendar?
So moved.
Motion by
Second, Johnson.
O'Day, second by Johnson. Any discussion? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Erickson.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Stengline.
Yes.
And Bevins.
Yes, we are officially underway. Item 6 is council committee reports. 6A is Personnel and Finance Committee, Chairman Gabe Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 8 items on the agenda tonight, the first of which is our insurance renewal from the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust. And the motion is to approve the insurance renewal from LMCIT for March 1st, 2022 through February 28th, 2023, as presented with the addition of increasing our cyber protection to $500,000 per occurrence instead of $250,000 per occurrence at an additional cost of just over $2,000. And I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by Johnson, a second by Stunek. Any discussion? Mr. Johnson?
Insurance for organization-wide was up from $360,000 to $400,000 this year, but the good news for the city council is BPU's share went up $45,000, so the non-electric side actually went down a couple $1,000s. But now we're gonna spend a couple $1,000s on our enhanced cyber protection, so it's gonna be about a wash for us, about right where we budgeted.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up is a resignation of a firefighter, and I move to accept with regret the resignation of paid on-call firefighter Andrew Bickle, effective 5/2/22, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by Johnson, second by Stengline. Any discussion? Chairman Johnson.
Very effective firefighter. We really hate to see him go. He's with us for about 10 years, but he got a promotion in his current job where he's on the road a lot more and can't make the obligations of a firefighter is necessary to make.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up is to ratify the hiring of 2022 summer temporary employees, and the motion is to ratify the hiring of the 2022 summer temporary employees as presented on the attached listing, and I so move.
Second.
A motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up is to ratify the promotion of James Kramvik to Community Development Director. And I move that we ratify the promotion of James Kramvik to the Community Development Director position effective June 7, 2022, and that he be placed on Step 2 of the Community Development Director wage grid, and furthermore, direct staff to begin the hiring process to backfill the assistant planner position, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion, Johnson, second by Stengline. Any discussion? You don't want to get rid of that assistant planner now, Gabe?
I may vote. We haven't voted. No, no, we need the assistant planner. It's just fine.
Well, That's Gabe. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay, next up is prosecution agreements, and the motion is to authorize staff to provide written notice to Severson Porter to renew the current contract prior to July 1st, and I so move.
We have a motion by Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Stunek. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, Chairman Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. We signed a 3-year contract with them in 2019. It ends at the end of this year, and in that contract, they need to notify us with at least 6-month notice, and we need to notify them with at least 6 months' notice that we want to continue working together in the future. They have already notified us. This motion is just to direct staff to notify them we want to continue working with them.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the renewal, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next up is a request from the Wellness Committee to have the picnics, instead of each department doing their own picnic, have the citywide just do one picnic with all the departments together and do it at the end of the workday instead of in the evening.
Noontime.
During the noontime. During the noontime during the workday, but for an hour and a half. Does that cover it, John? Yeah. And the motion is to approve that request. The motion is to approve the request attached to the agenda that I just can't find in my packet.
We have a motion by Johnson on the noontime wellness
Second.
picnic, second by Stengline. Any
You want
further?
to show up
any-
before you were at.
I won't be there.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Chairman Johnson?
Thank you.
Wait. Was there something on that prosecution agreement? Do we need to make a separate motion on the?
We decided to hold off on making any
Okay.
discussion about that.
Thank you.
Yep. So next up, Mr. President, is an update on the city engineer, public works director hiring process. We did receive some qualified applications. The work group decided to interview 3 people. All 3 people are from out of the area, so the motion here is to authorize a lodging reimbursement for the city engineer, public works director applicants for up to $200 the night before their interviews. That will be held on June 22nd, 2022, and I so move.
We have a motion by Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Stunek. Chairman
The
Johnson.
$200 has become pretty standard when we're hiring administrators or department heads that have to travel in for an interview.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, this is a public interview process? Yes, no? People will ask?
No, this will be the group we assigned, the work group.
Okay. Just wanted to know, in case
Yep.
somebody wanted to come.
It will not be on TV or the doors will not be open, no.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're gonna like this one. This is an update on the request for funds to be returned from Lakes Area Media Collaborative. And the motion out of committee is to send another letter to Lakes Area Media Collaborative requesting for the funds to be returned, but make it a little spicier this time. And I so move.
I like spicy. We have a motion by Johnson, a second by Stengline. I have a question, Mr. Johnson. Can we add to the list of recipients, not only Mr. Henschke, but all the board members? Each individual board member? Because you may get some more action, especially from the treasurer who's, working in the city of
That's
Brainerd.
spicy plus.
I like that. That's caliente.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
End of report.
Thank you. Next up is Safety and Public Works Committee Chairman Mike O'Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had 4 items on Safety and Public Works tonight. First of which was an event alley closure application for Sheps on 6th Elbow Convention. That event will be held August 26th to August 28th. It's basically the same thing as it's been for many years in the alley next to Sheps on 6th. Music, alcohol, fun times for everyone. And motion coming out of committee was just to recommend approval of the attached application under the conditions listed in the application, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Erickson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Second item was another parking lot closure application for the Lakes Area Skate Park Association pop-up skate park. Motion coming out of committee was to approve the event and parking lot closure for the Lakes Area Skate Park Association for their pop-up skate park event under the conditions that all signs be removed after the event and coordinator fills out a food truck application with necessary attachments, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, second by Erickson. Any discussion? Chairman O'Day.
So this is the second, we did this with them last year when it was a little colder. This is gonna be on June 18th, in the City Hall parking lot from 12 to 3. Dunmeyer's is going to bring in a food truck and supply food. It's a fundraiser for the skate park group that's trying to raise funds for a new skate park in potentially Memorial Park. So we'll see you guys there.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I've not, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I haven't heard of Dunmire's having a food truck license. Do they have one? I mean, I might follow that truck around. Yeah, pretty good food.
Top 5 burgers in the
Yeah.
region or something like that.
Yeah, so I can clarify that for special events, it's kind of up to the organizer. We have reached out to them, letting them know the insurance requirements as well as Minnesota Department of Health. But for special events, it's typically the organizer that handles that part of it.
Okay.
So, but there is a license required, yes? I was here when we initiated the food truck license.
There is a food truck license if they're within the, I guess, parameters of the community and the certain districts. But if it's a special event, I guess that's how we've been handling as a special event organizer, checks all that information out.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next item was to do with the, let me go. Bids for the improvement 19-02 Cuyuna Lakes State Trail West segment. So this is part of the trail that goes from 28th to the connection with Buffalo Hills Trail. That would be the section that would be refundable with DNR funds. And then there's an alternate also included. And that would be connecting from 11th Street to 8th Street, where we actually have a trail going north and south into downtown. That is not eligible. Discussion committee regarding this is, yeah, it is a significant cost. It's almost $200,000, but it is favorable compared to what we thought it might be. But we've already acquired land. The design is already there. Just putting at risk never finishing the trail and connecting it to downtown and telling everybody coming from NP Center that you just got to go turn left and not go downtown. It just makes sense to just finish the project right now. So a motion coming out of committee after a lot of discussion regarding it was to recommend approval of bids as presented and award the construction contract for improvement 19-02 Cuyuna Lake State Trail West segment to D. Chantel Excavating in the total amount base bid plus alternate one of $630,162.28, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Erickson. Any discussion? The obvious one, Mr. O'Day, where's the extra 200 grand come from?
Paul?
Those would be local funds out of the construction fund 401.
Thank you. Just for the record. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last item for tonight with Safety and Public Works was the approval of testing services for improvement 2110 Greenwood Street reconstruction. This has to do with all the testing that has to be done on materials. And motion coming out of committee was to go with the lower bid with ITT. Recommend authorizing the quote with ITT in the amount of $4,215, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Erickson. Any discussion on the testing bid? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Anything else?
And a report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up is item 7, unfinished business, 7A, a final reading of proposed ordinance 1531, replacing section 720 and 725 of the city code. Interim Engineer Sandy, anything you wish to add before we look for a motion to hold and dispense the final reading, then public hearing.
Besides what have come up at other meetings, this is a complete replacement of section 20 and section 725 of the city code to be in compliance with our MS4 permit that we were issued last year here. This is the third time we've brought this forward to city council. I'm sure you've all had an opportunity to read the whole ordinance. It's just amazing material, so. Yeah, so I don't have anything else besides what's in the memo, and making sure that we adopt the summary resolution if it's adopted here tonight for the publication purposes.
Any questions of the engineer besides if we did read it, would you make your wedding?
Yes.
You would, no matter what. Okay, then we'll try not to. No other questions for Mr. Sandy. The first item on this is to hold and dispense with the final reading and dispense with the actual reading. And we're looking for a motion to do such.
So move.
Motion by Stunek. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by O'Day. Any discussion or questions on this? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up, we're going to open the public hearing on this at 7:45 and ask anybody who's here to discuss proposed ordinance 1531, replacing section 720 and 725 of the Brainerd City Code, to step forward. Sean Strong, do we have anybody online?
Staff and consultant. No citizens.
All right, if you were online and wanted to speak on any topic this evening, *3 indicates to us that you are interested to speak, and then *6 would be an unmute when it's time to speak. Anybody else in the audience wishing to speak on proposed ordinance 1531? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:47, and we will look for a motion to adopt or deny ordinance 1531. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 1531?
So move, Johnson.
Motion by Johnson. Second by O'Day. Thank you, guys. Thought we were gonna, didn't think this was gonna be the hard one. Any discussion on proposed ordinance 1531? If not, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Erickson.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Stengline.
Yes.
And Bevins.
Yes, that ordinance is adopted. We have a fourth item on this, and that's to adopt the attached summary ordinance resolution. Is there a motion to adopt that?
So move, Johnson.
Thank you. We have a motion by Johnson, second by Stunek. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, Administrator Bergman, please call the roll.
Erickson.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yep.
Stengline.
Yes.
And Bevins.
Yes. That resolution is adopted. Next up is item 7B, an improvement or settlement agreement with Gustafson Properties of Brainerd LLC. Administrator Bergman, anything you wish to add to what's in our packet?
Nothing that I wish to add that is not in your packet.
Thank you. Any questions for Administrator Bergman? If not, we are looking for a motion to approve the attached resolution settlement agreement as presented and executed by city staff.
So moved.
We have a motion by Erickson, a second by Stengline. Any discussions on this? Any discussions on this? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is a public hearing and resolution on a petition to vacate an alley submitted by My Neighbor to Love Alley Blocks M and E in West Brainerd. Interim City Engineer Sandy, anything you wish to add to what's in our packet?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I have a couple things just to update the council again. So we adopted this attached resolution on May 16th, in which set this public hearing. It was a petition from a majority of the property owners abutting the alley blocks M and E in West Brainerd to vacate that alley. Upon due notice tonight in front of you, you have the decision to either vacate this alley or not. We have gotten some information from the applicant regarding the request for a vacation, including a drawing and an explanation of why the alley should be vacated on their behalf. But certainly that's to the council's purview. So leave it open for the public hearing, I suppose.
Any questions for Mr. Sandy? Okay, hearing none, we will open the public hearing at 7:48 and ask if anybody in the audience or online wishes to speak on the alley vacation and the petition by my neighbor to love. Please come forward, state your name, address. Come on up. Hi, Nyla.
Hi, Vicki Kinney from Lakeshore, and I'm representing my Neighbor to Love Coalition, and we're asking that you would agree with the city administrator and the city engineer to vacate this alley. And the reasons are because it serves no purpose for us at all, and it makes, hinders, I guess, our development of the property. One of the things I know, we were denied the planned unit development from the city council, but we did take seriously the recommendations of the planning commission. And one of those things was that they would like to see denser housing. And that was not part of our original plan, but we also want to get as much housing as we possibly can in here. We don't, however, want to wipe out the entire lot and bulldoze it over and only put in multiplex units and parking lots. So we would like to do some mixed development. Our intent is to put in 3 multiplex units and hopefully 8 single-family homes, of course, depending on funding. Our problem is, as you can see in the upper northeast corner, Brainerd has a city utility easement that takes up about the equivalence of 3 would-be buildable single-family lots. And of course, we can't build on those, and our only option is to turn that into green space or use that as a parking lot for a multiplex unit, which is what we'd like to do. That, of course, then pushes the multiplex unit back towards the center of the property, which on top of the alley, which that poses a problem. The other 2 units that we would like to build are in the southernmost part of the property, and we have that same situation. It just really encroaches on the alley. And the single-family homes, the lots are very deep. They're about 150 feet deep. And our intention is to build the homes front-loading with the garages attached. And so we have no use for an alley down the middle of the property. We would like to leave that green space for the use of the residents and just to have some greenery and not wipe everything out. So that's our intention. We believe alleys for residential neighborhoods are really about serving the neighbors that live there, and this does not serve the neighbors. Having the green space would be much more beneficial to us and to the local residents. So if you're looking for a reason to vacate, and I've stated those again, it's a public benefit because it's saving taxpayer dollars. Why would the city put in an alley and spend that money on an alley that's not useful to the residents, not useful to us, it serves no public benefit. So that would be one reason. Also, it's a benefit to the public that will be living there, having the green space, and also to the Tyrone neighborhood. So those are our main reasons why we believe that this should be vacated, and we hope that you agree with the city attorney and the engineer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to speak during the public hearing portion and give testimony on the alley vacation? Please, come on up. State your name and address.
My name is Mike Gangwin. I live at 15873 Old Stonebridge Trail in Brainerd. And I'm speaking on behalf of Gustafson Properties, and it's for the 3 properties that are located along the south. I do have a site plan sketch I could hand out. However, that was not in your packet. So curious what your thoughts are on that.
You can't hear from us. This is your time to do
Okay.
public testimony.
So what we did was we took a look at this property, the owner of the property, and thinking about it in terms of having this alleyway vacated. And it is to the benefit of this property. We're taking a look at the comprehensive plan in terms of what the goals are for development. And with this property being, with the existing infrastructure is there, the opportunities that there is for this property, it certainly seems like it's in line. And we're also looking at it through the lens of the new potential zoning ordinance. And so what would be advantageous for the owner is that these properties, 3 properties, and the alleyway would be contiguous. It would be one property. It really maximizes the opportunity to have a commercial allowable use on this property. And so we do have a sketch that's available, but if it's not in your packet, it just really allows for the most flexibility for this site and potential for what this could be. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to testify regarding the alley vacation? Now is your time. Still nobody online, Mr. Strong?
Oh, only staff.
All right, anybody else? One more call, and we will close the public hearing at 8:49. And we will look for a motion to adopt the attached resolution which vacates the alley lying within blocks M and E, West Brainerd, while reserving rights to an easement for utility purposes. Is there a motion as such?
So moved.
Motion by Stangline. Is there a second? Is there a second? Final call. Is there a second? Hearing none, that motion dies for lack of second, and we will move on to item D, which is a call for applicants. Mr. Mayor?
The following applications are available at our website, www.ci.brainerd.mn.us/boards with an S. The following terms expire on 12/31 of said year. Cable TV Advisory Committee, 2 terms expiring 2022, 1 term expiring 2024. Charter Commission, 1 term expiring 2022, 1 term expiring 2025. Rental Dwelling License Board of Appeals, 2 terms expiring 2022. Also, the EDA, which expires on 9/7 of said year, we have 1 term expiring 2022 and 1 term expiring 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and as council president, I have 1 opening on the Planning Commission to expire in 2023, and the ad hoc committee's Water Tower Fundraising Committee has 1 position open. Item 8 is new business. Item 8A is the first reading of proposed ordinance 1532, an ordinance amending the city charter. Administrator Bergman, anything you wish to add to what's in our packet?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. I just would like to point out that the Charter Commission reviewed several items at their May meeting and are recommending several changes. Those are laid out in the memo that was attached to your packet. It's quite lengthy. Attorney Langle did draft 2 ordinances with the proposed changes to the city charter. Ordinance 1532 encompasses several changes outlined in that memo, with the exception of Chapter 3, Finances, number 3 through 5. I do have a list of all of those if you would like me to go over them, but they were included in your packet, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Any questions for staff? Then this is a first reading on proposed ordinance 1532. And remember, to dispense with the actual reading must be unanimous. Anybody wish to try making a motion on this?
On 1532?
And the actual reading.
Yeah, I move to dispense, to hold the first reading, dispense with the actual reading, Johnson.
Great. Second. Then a second by O'Day. We have a motion by Johnson, second by O'Day. Any discussion? Hearing none. This is a first reading. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Next up is also a first reading on proposed ordinance 1533, an ordinance amending the city charter. Administrator Bergman, anything you wish to add to what's in our package on this one?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. At the April 20th meeting, as I mentioned, the Charter Commission discussed several items. This one was also discussed. The commission directed staff to review the language to allow distributing the funds to include one or more organizations in reference to green space arboretums, senior programs, and events and community action organizations. Staff did bring back a recommendation to the Charter Commission to clarify both the intent of what within the city limits of Brainerd meant, and also allowing multiple organizations to receive the 1.5% of the previous year's levy. I did also attach the memo that was sent to the council. That long memo included the discussion on this piece as well. After the Charter Commission discussed this, and reviewed the proposed amendment. A motion was made to strike Chapter 3, Sections 3 through 5 in their entirety, with a further recommendation to the council to have legal review and to extend the Northland Arboretum's agreement to 5 years to align with the agreements that were approved for the center and for Brainerd Community Action. Mr. Chair, this is a first reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Any questions of staff? Since this is a first reading, let's take a shot and see if somebody would like to make a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to conduct the first reading of proposed ordinance number 1533 and to dispense with the actual reading. Johnson.
Second.
Thank you, Johnson. Second, Stunek. Any discussion? Tiffany,
If Mr. O'Day would like to go first, that's
you
fine.
raised your hand first.
Thank you. I'm going to vote for it tonight because I don't want to sit through the reading, but I think that I heard a lot from constituents about how much the amenities that are provided through these funds mean to them, and so you can expect me to vote no on the second time around.
Sure. Chairman O'Day.
I think in response to that, this doesn't stop any of these organizations from being able to request funds. It just makes it so it's not automatically written into the charter. We could always budget. Incorrect?
I would like to have the attorney respond to that, because I think if it's not in the charter, we can't give them, but I'm not sure. I know there was issues with the cemetery, but I don't think we could put that in the charter.
Yeah, Mr. President and Council, you are correct in that it has to be in the charter, because otherwise you're relying upon just general state law with respect to city authority, and cities do not have that authority, which is why you don't see other statutory cities doing this sort of thing. This is something that is unique to a charter city.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Chairman Johnson? I'm sorry, were you, excuse me? Chair.
No, that's it. That's
Okay,
all.
Chairman Johnson, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to vote in favor of it. And I will also say that there are legal expenditures a city can make and contract out, even if the entity they're contracting with is a nonprofit corporation in the state of Minnesota. So eliminating these levies doesn't eliminate these organizations from ever being able to contract with the city on anything ever again. It just means we wouldn't be able to just cut them checks and never ask for any accountability. And secondly, I would just like to remind everybody on the council that we will hold a public hearing next time, and to announce what your vote is before the public hearing is a grave mistake as a city council member. You need to hear the community's input, then churn it, then make a decision. If you're set before the public hearing, it's not correct. So I would keep an open mind, Tiff.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none. And to dispense with the actual reading, this needs to be unanimous, and it will move forward to the second reading and a public hearing if it passes. All in favor, say aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes unanimously. So in 2 weeks, we'll have the second reading. All right, next up is, all right, item, I gotta flip my page here. 8C, to set a joint workshop of the City Council and the Brainerd Public Utilities Commission with 3 items: the employee policy manual, the use of recent Roberts property purchase, and the review of the contribution policy between council and commission. Any thoughts as to the June 27th, 2022 suggestion, 5 p.m. in council chambers? Somebody want to make a motion to set that joint workshop?
So move.
Motion by Stunek. Is there a second?
Second, Johnson.
Second by Johnson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is item 9. This is a public forum, a time allocated for citizens to bring matters not on the agenda to the attention of the City Council. We usually ask you to keep it to a couple of minutes. We will open the public forum at 8:03 and ask if anybody wishes to discuss something that's not on the agenda, please come forth, state your name, your address.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Cross, 12843 Eagle Drive, and I am here representing the Brainerd Lions Club. Not asking for money, not asking for anything but your attention. The Brainerd Lions Club turned 100 years old in October of 2021. So on July 16th of this year, from 11 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we will be at Memorial Park near the splash pad, and we will be celebrating our 100th birthday. I'm here to invite you personally to attend and be our guest for lunch and birthday cake. I have invitations for you, and so if you'll just take the one addressed and a poster. I just want you to know that the Brainerd Lions Club is not a very large club. We probably have 26 members at this particular time. But in the last 10 years, we have given to the nonprofits, both individuals, city, county, and nonprofits of this particular area over $1 million. And that's a huge impact on the nonprofits. Nonprofits are a backbone of any community. They do the work that most don't want to do. So I ask you to, again, support the nonprofits, support the Brainerd Lions Club, come out and have a party with us. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
There won't be any questions. This is just your time to give
All
us
right.
testimony.
How much time do I have? You know, I could talk.
Your time's up. Thank you, Nancy.
Happy 4th of July.
Anybody else who wishes to speak during the public forum on anything that we have not already discussed this evening? Anybody at all? Nobody online? We will close the public forum at 8:06, and we'll move on to staff reports. We'll start with HR Director Schubert, Fire Chief Holmes, Attorney Lango, James Kravick, our new assistant, no longer assistant planner.
Nope, not till tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very excited for
I
the
got stuff to complain about already tonight. No, go ahead, James.
Very excited for the opportunity that you've all given me. I'll certainly work very hard and excited to delve down more into the economic side of things as well, and move the city of Brainerd forward. With that as well, I wanted to kind of let council know as well about the next planning commission meeting. It has been posted in the paper. We are going to be holding a public hearing for the potential adoption of the new zoning code and zoning map at the next planning commission meeting. And that is everything.
Paul Sandy, thanks for sitting in.
I'll let the mayor cover the groundbreaking ceremony we had today, so that's all on him.
Excellent. Finance Director Hillman.
I actually have two things. The city will have 2 races on the primary ballot for Ward 1 and Ward 4, as we had more than 2 individuals file for those positions. The city still has to conduct a primary election, even if we wouldn't have any race on the ballots, and I think that's important to note, that we would still have to conduct the primary, even if we didn't have any races. The second item is that we are still in need of election judges. It is a very long day, and we would like to schedule shifts, but we are not able to because we need over 50 judges. And so we need people to sign up to be an election judge and get trained. And more importantly, we have to maintain party balance at all times. So there are 4 recognized parties in Minnesota. We have the Democrat, the Republican, Legal Marijuana Now Party, and the Grassroots Legalized Cannabis Party. So those are the 4 that are recognized. So when we talk about having political balance, if we have 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat and 1 legalized marijuana now party, we do not have balance in our precinct. So it's very important when you're signing up to be an election judge, and if you would put your party preference, if you have one, that's very important. It is not public information, but it's just shared with the election judges in the precinct if needed, because there are certain duties that have to be done on election day that require people from 2 different political parties to perform those duties. So you do not have to be a resident of Brainerd. You can be a resident of Minnesota, and we will pay for you to get trained. And we also provide lunch and dinner that day. And so we would appreciate anybody signing up to be an election judge.
I don't think we can.
Thank you very much. IT GIS Director Strong.
2 quick blurbs, I guess. One is we're probably going to be leaving WebEx in these meetings and moving to Zoom or Teams. mostly for financial reasons. WebEx is very expensive. We can do it a lot cheaper. And we'll probably also stop doing virtual meetings for every single meeting. We'll always have them for council meetings, but for other meetings, we'll probably only use them as needed instead of always having unattended virtual meetings. The other thing is the cable channel. All the hardware is in place, as you know. We could be broadcasting except for two things. We gotta get the contract finalized, and Charter's having a hard time getting hardware. But I thought I'd show you this. This here is the name of your channel. Unless you disagree right here and now. That's what's gonna be called.
Disagree.
EC3 for short. The C is Community College Channel. So, and that's probably the logo. They're still working on it. Might change a bit, but something similar to that. And here's where you'll be able to see this. You're already seeing it on YouTube, but eventually we'll have the 2 cable channels. It'll be on 3 smart TV apps, Roku, Apple, and Amazon. The Cablecast is the software company, so it actually shows up on their website too. And we have the video actually embedded on the city's website. So you got, what, 8 different places to watch these meetings happen. So, any questions or just letting you know?
Thank you.
Bet.
Anything else, Sean?
Nope.
Police Chief Bestel?
Nothing, Mr. President.
And Administrator Bergman?
Nothing to add.
I'm sorry, there's staff online. Who's online? Eric Charpentier? Eric, do you have anything you want to add?
Nothing this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We will move on to item 11. The Honorable Mayor Bedell.
Oh, boy.
Well, first of all, it's item 10, but that's okay. Mayor's report.
It is item 11.
Oh, it is item 11? On mine, it says 10. What is happening? Anyways, we got it.
Be the weed party.
We got, well, to each their own. We have 3 things to talk about, but before we do, we got to point out, Sean is in the audience here, not normal Sean. Sean, too, is right here. And I just want to point out the mustache on this gentleman and just say, bringing up the mustache quotient in this room, good job. I appreciate it. We always have one. Now we got 2. I just want to point it out. Make sure that everyone knows. We're
Yours
double
doesn't
mustache.
count?
Right? All right. Paul said that we were going to talk about Mississippi Landing Trailhead Park P5, as I call it, the park. We had the groundbreaking tonight for that fantastic facility. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to take a look at the designs. It looks phenomenal. It's got a really interesting setup to it. The facilities that are going to be down there are going to be great. I'm still a little irritated about the fact that we are building bathrooms across the street from other bathrooms, but I will let that go because it looks like they're going to be pretty nice as well. However, I will say this. Right now, we are actively tearing up a parking lot next to the Mississippi River and replacing it with a park. And if that is the only thing that I'm involved with in the city of Brainerd in the entirety of my career, I will be satisfied with that. The fact that we have talked about this stuff over and over and over again about how we want on-street parking, about how we want to get away from parking lots, and the fact that we are tearing one up next to the mighty Mississippi River in order to put a park in its place is probably the coolest thing we've done. So, pat on the back to everyone involved, Riverfront Committee, Park Board, City Council, School District, I want to thank them as well. Pat on the back to everyone involved with that. This is going to be a big deal. At the same time, there's going to be a lot of people irritated about the parking situation down there, so we're going to have to retrain ourselves to how to park during softball events because the softball girls are knocking it out of the park literally and are probably going to continue to do so for years. All right. Speaking of softball, baseball is in full swing. I attended the Baseball Association's tournaments. They had tournaments going on in multiple locations, but using 2 of our parks this weekend, JC's and Bain Park. Hopped on my longboard, cruised myself over there, just about ran out of gas personally on the way there. Way too far, I realized, halfway. And then realized I had to get back. But I just want to congratulate them on those events, doing a great job. And then also Splash Pad. I know we had the opening for the Splash Pad. Phenomenal Lionhead drinking fountain. Great plaque. Thank you to the Lions for their contributions in that and every other contribution they've made. But I'm going to say this right now, that thing is spectacular, and I have been over there multiple times where I have seen large groups of kids over there. And it is amazing, as someone who grew up in Northeast, who calls that park probably one of my favorite parks in the area, to see the amount of individuals that are in that park now and seeing it getting used is amazing. And I know that there's gonna be cost associated with pushing that button and the water that is running. But every single time that button is pressed, we can calculate the fact that there is a child using our park. Can't do that with many parks. So, splash pad, fantastic, and then we're just gonna say right on top of that, hey, we could probably use a skate park as well. End of report.
How do you know it's a child?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council Committee Reports, item 12, Tiffany Stingline.
I too attended the groundbreaking today. It was good fun. I appreciated that the asphalt had already been pulled up before we had to take the shovels to it. That was a smart move on somebody's part. Looking at you, Paul. Other than that,
Thank you. Mr. Stunek?
I'm actually going to say something tonight. Whoa. Hey, stop. If you don't know, the airport received a $14 million grant during COVID and everything. And we are building a brand-new fire department out there. And we had the groundbreaking about 3-4 weeks ago. I was part of that, and I go out there weekly to have breakfast at the New Wings Cafe, which we've invested money in, and watch what's going on with the fire department, which they put footings in this week. So that's exciting for me. I'm sure it's exciting for Chief Tim.
Thank you. Chairman Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. President. We at the EDA meeting met last week, and we were given information that that the Initiative Foundation was awarded $4.5 million from Deed's Main Street Revitalization Program. And they're earmarking as much as $865,000 that they want to be spent in downtown Brainerd in the river to rail corridor, basically. We had called a special meeting for this Wednesday at 5 o'clock because they need the EDA to put together criteria and an application for the funding. So we're going to discuss, as an EDA and public, anybody who comes, we're going to discuss what our priorities are of this $865,000 and change as a 30% match on a 70% private pay on the grant. But it's real exciting that they got the money. They have nearly $1 million that they want to invest in downtown Brainerd. And meet us in council chambers Wednesday night at 5.
Thank you. Chairman O'Day?
Yeah, apologies, I couldn't make the groundbreaking, even though I asked for it, I think, at our last meeting, but I had to work today, so. Congratulations, James. I think this is gonna be great. You've been great to work with so far. I have full confidence in you. I'm glad that you got the job. There's one other thing I was gonna mention, and now I can't remember. Oh, I was gonna ask the mayor if he's going to bring his longboard to the skateboard party.
I thought about it, but insurance specifically said absolutely not.
End of report.
Chad Harrison?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just 2 quick committee updates. As James mentioned, looking forward to the next Planning Commission meeting, hearing from residents and business owners for the public hearing, and hopefully moving that in the next step towards approval of the zoning ordinance. And then lastly, May 26th, I attended the Northland Arboretum Board of Directors meeting. Provided just a brief update as to the potential changes which we approved tonight for the first reading, and let them know about some key dates coming up here for the second reading. So that's all for me.
Thank you. I have nothing to add. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stunek.
Quick on that one.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.